fall in the southern Appalachian Mountains, and what a beautiful time of year to be out exploring. This week, myself and Kevin Adams are going to be out photographing waterfalls. Now, Kevin has promised me that he's got something really unique in store for us. I'm your host, Doug Gardner, and your wild photo adventure starts now. Even though I love shooting wildlife, that's my main thing, Kevin. That's where my passion is. I always enjoy shooting a beautiful waterfall.
Oh,
There's something about it, I love a waterfall.
How could you not like a waterfall? And I've got a nice one I'm gonna take us to today. I shoot it quite a bit, but it's always different, Every time you go, there's something different, so I'm excited about that. If we have time, I got another one we'll go to.
Okay.
We'll have to watch out for this weather, though.
Yeah, there's a front supposed to be coming through, I think.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 there's a tree in the road.
Oh boy, jeez. I tell you, Doug, that could have been rough if we hadn't seen that tree. Yeah, Doug, I think this will be a good vantage point, but watch yourself here. That's kind of a little cliffy area.
Yeah, that's a nice little drop right there.
Yeah, I believe this will work fine.
Wow, Kevin, what a beautiful waterfall. This thing's got a lot of character to it.
Yeah, I really like this falls, Doug. The cool thing I like about it is it's out in the open, so you can shoot it whether it's a sunny day or if it's a cloudy day. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And on a sunny day, since it is out in the open, it receives even illumination. So the entire falls, you don't have that extreme contrast situation that you have.
Right,
It works good.
Well, now you are using your polarizer filter, right?
You didn't just ask me that, did you?
I know you're the king of polarizers.
Oh, come on. Hey, when I'm shooting waterfalls and streams, the polarizing filter stays on.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? When you're shooting waterfalls or streams or anything with water or wet rocks, use that circular polarizer filter. It makes a huge difference in your photographs. It saturates the color and it removes any glare that you're getting off of the sky that you'll find on the surface of the wet rocks or the water. So it really makes a huge difference.
It's kind of a pain, especially when you have a lens hood like this. I have to take the hood off to re-rotate the filter, because when you change from vertical to horizontal, of course, you got to change the filter back.
It's funny, we have more fall color actually registering on camera than what the naked eye is showing me. So this is, I'm real pleased with this.
Polarizing filter is a reason for that too. It's helped saturate your foliage.
Kevin, what shutter speed are you using for this?
Well, right now I'm at a half second after the clouds moved in, and that's pretty good. That's giving a nice silky look to the falls. There's so much water coming over it, half second is enough to do that. When we first got here and the sun was shining, I was shooting a faster speed because sometimes with the large, powerful falls like this,
right,
if you shoot with a faster speed, like maybe a 60th of a second or faster, then it freezes that motion of the water, and that can look good too.
It just depends on what you like, it's personal preference.
Yeah, now the small, dainty falls, I usually don't like a fast shutter speed on those no matter what, but a large, powerful one like this, certainly. And I was doing that when we first got here and the sun was shining, but now with the clouds.
Yeah, so we're using a much longer shutter speed now.
Yeah, now that we have the cloud cover, we got less light, so.
Folks, since waterfalls, generally a vertical format, don't forget to try those horizontal angles too. You never know what composition you can come up with. Waterfalls, that's the neat thing about them. You can shoot them wide, you can shoot them with telephoto lenses, you can shoot them vertical, horizontal. It's just, you got to get creative with the angles. If you have the opportunity, it's always best to move all the way around the waterfall and shoot it from multiple different angles. Don't just guess what do you think it would look like from the right side, or what it would look like from the left side or above it. Actually take your camera and go down there and try those angles if it's possible. And this scenario right here, it's a long ways to the other side, and we've got to cross a pretty good river to get there. So we only have this angle and then an angle a little bit higher elevation, but this angle gives us a much more intimate feel with this waterfall.
Boy, Doug, that sore throat of yours is starting to sound really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm suffering from a cold, folks. Yeah, this is beautiful, but I tell you what, I'd like to squeeze in another waterfall before the day is up.
Yeah, I'm done. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Man, I'm in heaven here. This is great. We got a nice little cascade right in the foreground, so I can get right up on it with the wide angle lens. The water kind of runs at a diagonal up through, which looks really cool, just nice. One thing I have to be careful about though is I don't want to get too close on this cascade. I don't want to frame too tight because I don't want to have that white water that just rushes right out to the edges of the frame. I want to give it some room to breathe. Works better that way. And the really cool thing that I like about this is we got here just after a rain, so all the rocks are wetted down, the foliage is wetted down. Put a polarizing filter on here as I have, rotate it to maximum intensity, and we have some really nice saturation in the moss, the rocks, the water, the foliage, everything. It just looks great.
Wow, that's really nice. I tell you, even if I am coming down with the flu, it's worth getting out here today and shooting this. This is really nice. Kevin had a really nice horizontal shot up at the top of this cascade, but this is a good situation for a vertical shot too. I'm able to get this cascade coming down through the bottom right-hand side of my frame. I'm also able to include some beautiful yellow fall color at the top right-hand side of my frame. And then by tilting the camera down and shooting with a wide angle lens, I'm actually at 28 millimeters right now, and I'm able to get some of the slower moving stream pools right here in the bottom of the frame. There's moss on the logs. This is the kind of shot you want to look for. This is really nice. Because I'm trying to include so much in this shot from right in front of the camera to a good 30 or 40 yards away, I'm having to shoot at f/22 so that I have plenty of depth of field. With some lenses, you got to be careful though. They're known to have diffraction problems. So it's important to test your lens and be sure that you can shoot at f-stops of 16 and 22. Wow, this has been really special. It's getting dark now, it's getting late in the afternoon, and the weather forecast says that this is supposed to clear out tonight. If it does, Kevin has promised me he's got something really special planned for us. I have no clue what it is, knowing Kevin, but I guess we're about to find out. Kevin, where on earth are you taking me?
Trust me, Doug.
That's what I'm scared of. So Kevin, why'd you drag me down here to a waterfall in the middle of the night, on a cold night at that? We can't shoot pictures of a waterfall in the dark.
Can't take pictures in the dark. Now, where have I heard that before? Now, Doug, you know how much I like night photography. And I'm gonna show you that we can take pictures in the dark. And besides, it's not completely dark anyway. We've got a half full moon. And we're gonna use that light from the half full moon to photograph the waterfall. Okay. Wouldn't have to have it, but since we have it, we're gonna take advantage of that and use it to illuminate the scene. And it's gonna look pretty good. What's gonna happen is the light from the moon is gonna illuminate the waterfall. It's going to illuminate the sky. I'm going to include with some of my compositions, I'm going to have part of the sky in.
Okay.
So we're going to see kind of a blue sky with stars in it, which is going to look pretty cool.
Now the moon, the half moon by itself, is that going to be just enough to do this scene?
It'll be enough to do it pretty good. But now, if you look around, it's like the vegetation over here. It's just going to be dark, and the rocks on the side. We got a nice foreground right down here. I'm going to have to throw a little extra light onto it to illuminate that. But that's not going to be a problem. I mean, I've been here a lot shooting without any moonlight at all. Okay. And I'd like to talk to you about that too. Right now I want to get with the moonlight and get that part of it done. But look, Doug. See?
Pretty bright.
This is pretty bright, yeah. Just a little LED flashlight. I'm going to use it to illuminate the sides of the waterfall. Probably not going to touch on the waterfall itself because the moon is going to put enough light on that.
That's hard to imagine.
Speaking of light too, gosh, you know, typically, I don't need this. Typically, when I'm out photographing at night, I'll use a red light so that I can see and get stuff out of my pack and get everything set up.
It doesn't destroy your night vision as bad.
Exactly, exactly. But with these monster mega lights that you brought out here so that you could illuminate up everything.
All you told me was, we're going hiking at night and you need to bring lights, so that's what I did.
I wasn't expecting that, but so yeah, of course we'll be turning those off when I'm actually doing the exposure so that they don't affect the scene.
And we got to work quick because that moon is setting pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm doing as you can see, I'm doing a vertical composition here. And actually I have to say, those lights of yours are helping me compose a little bit, but it's not going to let me get the focus that I need. What I typically do with focus is I'll shine a light onto the waterfall or onto something, and I'll use autofocus to autofocus on that. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take my bright light and get the focus set.
It is quite amazing that little flashlight can do all this.
This is a pretty bright light.
Is it a special flashlight?
No, you can buy this in any hardware store.
Okay.
It's not a problem. Now, sometimes if I can't do that, then I'll actually walk into the scene and I'll lay the flashlight down, pointed back up at the camera, then I'll autofocus on that and it works pretty good. But what I'm doing here, I've got a vertical shot, I've got the waterfall over on the left-hand side, I've got this foreground right down here, and if you look up here in the sky, you see Orion, the constellation? So I'm going to get a few shots that has Orion in the sky, so let me see. Even though I've got that light from the half full moon, I still need to bump up that ISO. I'm shooting at ISO 1600, aperture is f4, and I think I'm going to try, first of all, shutter speed of about 20 seconds and see what happens.
Now I know that f4 will work in this situation because we're using a wide angle lens and we're close to the subject. So we've got depth of field.
That's a good point. And actually, it's this 14 millimeter lens that I'm using for this shot here. So yeah, I mean, what's the waterfall there? It's about 30 feet away. So I mean, even if I was shooting wide open at f2.8, I would have enough depth of field to cover both of those and get them both in focus.
So when you're trying to determine exposure on a nighttime scene like this, what's a good rule of thumb as a starting point to try to, because obviously you're going to be shooting at, anywhere from 20, 30 seconds?
And you can't exactly take a meter reading, at night. So from experience, I've learned that on a night like this, when you've got a half full moon, I can go with that ISO 1600 f4 in about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Now, if it was, if we didn't have any light from the moon, then I'd probably want to bump it up to 30 seconds.
Right.
And open up the aperture to about 2.8 and shoot wide open for that. I could bump it up to 2.8 now, but I really like, just in case, that extra fudging.
Right.
You know, you want to do that for the depth of field if you can. So that's what I do. Now, if it was a full moon,
right,
then that would be a different situation too. We have a lot of light with the full moon. With that, then I wouldn't shoot with those settings. It's probably about ISO 800.
Okay.
Instead of 1600.
Yeah, I know the little bit of night photography that I've done, you know, I always err on the lowest ISO I can get away with because of the noise situation. Sure. You know, we've got a lot of dark area, and that's generally where noise shows up.
Yeah, you're gonna get that. So, yeah. Well, let me get this, but now I'll show you what I'm gonna do now. I'm going to take my flashlight and I'm gonna illuminate over on the left-hand side of the falls where it's kind of dark. I'm gonna get this right here, and I'm going to get the trees, the foliage part of it here.
Will that be enough light to pop out the green in the foliage and some of those fall colors?
Because we have the half full moon, in the 20-second exposure. Now, if we didn't have that, then I might have to do a longer exposure. Might actually, sometimes what I'll do is I'll shoot 2 exposures or even more exposures.
Okay.
And I'll stack those together using the light and blend mode in Photoshop, and that will bring out the light from all of the exposures. But typically I try to do it in one. I'll just do it for a longer period of time. The issue that I have here, though, we're trying to include Orion.
Right.
So if I go longer than 30 seconds, then it's going to start streaking.
Oh yeah.
And
you're either going to do star trails or you want pinpricks.
I want pinpoints. Right now, I'm going for pinpoints. So I'm trying to keep that exposure 30 seconds or less.
I got you.
And I'm fine. We've got the half full moon right now.
Right.
So it's not a problem.
Let's utilize it.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, let's kill these lights.
Okay.
And let me go ahead and get this exposure. And then I'll set up a different composition and see what we can do.
All right. So when you're ready, we'll kill them.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Kill them.
Okay, Doug, you can turn those blame lights back on.
How'd it look?
I think it's going to be okay. I think so. But I'm going to try out a different composition. I mean, you know, it's just like what we were doing earlier today. I mean, you get in a good situation, you want to try it out. Night photography is no different. So, I mean, look at all the trouble we had to do to get here. I want to take advantage of all the situations.
Absolutely.
I want to do a horizontal here. Now, I'm going to do the same general approach. And that's with the waterfall on the left-hand side leading into the frame. That's looking pretty good. I'll have to do more light painting on this one. I have to make sure that I cover and get that. And I'm going to try to get a little bit of the pool here. All right. Kill the lights.
All right, kill the lights, guys.
Okay, lights. Okay, I think that's going to be good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think so.
So in a situation where you don't have any moon at all, I mean, where do you even begin? I know you're going to have to paint the whole waterfall with just the flashlight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know how long to keep the flashlight in one area without burning it out?
Oh, it's trial and error.
Is it really?
It's trial and error. You just get set up. You make a guess at the exposures. Now, I've been doing it long enough that I have a pretty good idea.
Right.
But still, it's the same thing every time too. Even though I have an idea, I still set it up to that. Trip the shutter, I start light painting, and I'm just taking the flashlight, you know, and I'm just moving, trying to move it around so it doesn't get real splotchy.
Right.
So don't leave it
even.
Make it even. Don't keep it in one spot too long, and you know, make a guess, and then look at it and see. You know, look at the LCD and look at it, look at the histogram, and then make a decision. Oops. I need to go more, I need to go less, whatever. And what you'll find is now with because it's a waterfall, it reflects, it's white,
Right.
it reflects a lot of the light. So you don't have to light paint the waterfall nearly as much as you do some of the surroundings.
area, yeah.
And if you look up here, you can see we've got this lichen, this really light rock up here. It's covered in lichens. That will really hot spot if you put too much light on that.
Right.
But the dark rocks on the side, that needs a lot of light. And the vegetation, you know, this is evergreens.
Right.
It's rhododendron and pine trees and stuff, so it really soaks up the light. You got to throw a lot on that too.
Well, now, going back to light quality, all flashlights cast a different color light. I mean, is that something to consider when you're buying a flashlight?
Absolutely. I mean, I won't buy a flashlight if I can't try it out
Right.
beforehand. Now, the good thing is most of the LED lights, if you get a good LED light, it's generally going to have a fairly white light, but there are some out there that'll have a color cast to it.
Okay.
I want to start out with a white light.
Right.
So if I want white, I've got white. But very often I want the color of the light that I'm light painting to be different. And that's when let me show you what I've got here. I use, you know about the Roscoe gel swatches? You
Oh,
used
yeah.
those before?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say.
yeah.
I'm used to using those.
So all different colors. I mean, you can paint it whatever color you want to. I mean, I've got every color you can imagine with the gels, but usually a blue colored gel.
Very subtle,
It's
though.
very subtle, very subtle. And in fact, if you looked at the photograph, and if I didn't tell you that I'd used a blue gel, you might not even know it.
Right.
But if you looked at it side by side without the gel, then you'd know it. And now the thing is, now to do it, to mount it on there, here, let me show you what I've got here. I'll just take one of them out here. Here's one that I use. I got so frustrated with holding these things in front of the flashlight. Can't find my flashlight, you know, trying to hold it or
Right.
tape it or whatever. I just got frustrated with that. So I said enough is enough. I designed my own holder. It's called a gel grip. And it works very easily. You just slide that gel filter right in there. And using Velcro,
Wow.
boom, right there.
Colored light.
Works great. And I could put different, you know, several gels in there and stack them.
That's a great little invention.
Oh, it works
I'll
really
have to
good.
buy one off of you before I leave.
Double for you.
Oh, okay.
Double price.
Now, did I hear you say that you use automatic white balance for your night stuff?
Yeah, I switched to digital, 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. And I set the camera on auto white balance and haven't switched it since. I'm not using the same camera as I had back then,
Right.
but I've been using auto white balance.
So you're
because-
making corrections in your process?
in post-processing.
Okay.
And when you're doing this night photography and you're dragging this stuff up and you're fumbling around in the dark, you're doing all that, you want things to be as simple as you possibly can.
Well, you think you've got everything you want here?
Yeah, I got that vertical, got that horizontal there, but before we leave tonight, I do want to get right up against the rock and shoot up kind of a profile shot on the waterfall. You want, again, we'll try out everything possible, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, on the other side of here looking forward, that would be a great shot, but, you know, we've had a good bit of snow for this time of year, and we've had a lot of rain, and this waterfall doesn't normally look like this. I've been here with you before in the daytime.
Spray.
Yeah, and I mean, we'd be getting
spray over there now. Yeah, I've actually I spent the night there doing night photography one night where I set up and I did no moon.
Okay.
So I was doing the pinpoint stars, ISO 1600, 30 seconds, f2.8,
Yep.
and light painting the waterfall and the surroundings a little bit. And then after I took a few shots like that, I set up and did star trails so that I could get the streaks over the waterfall.
Oh, wow, I bet that's beautiful.
Oh yeah, for that I used my intervalometer so that I could set the camera to shoot continuous. And for that particular one, I was shooting 4-minute exposures. That was at f4, 4 minutes, and ISO 200 for that. And then, for the first exposure, and I tested at 4 to make sure this would work. For the first exposure, I light painted the waterfall for, I think it was probably about a minute into, maybe 2 minutes into that exposure, so that I got the light painting part of it done. Then I let the camera run through the exposures for 2 hours. I crawled in a sleeping bag. So I was right over there on the bank for 2 hours, you know, while the camera's doing its thing. It's pretty cool.
That's neat. That's really neat. You know, and that's what you got to do. You got to put your time in for these type shots.
Yeah.
This is the difference between a snapshot and a fine art piece. You know, snapshots are
We're not
you
exactly
walk up
taking
and
snapshots
no,
out
this
here
is not
tonight,
exactly.
are
I mean,
we?
we've already put in, you know, a couple of hours at least just for this little short segment to share it with others. And but you know what? It's 2:30 in the morning.
And it's cold.
And I was a little reluctant to even come out here with you because you wouldn't tell me what we were doing, but I'm ready for the bed.
All right, okay. I guess let me run over here right quick
Go
and
ahead.
get that one profile shot, and then we can head on.
Sounds good.
Okay.
No matter the season or even whether it's day or night, the Southern Appalachian Mountains and its thousands of waterfalls is always a great place to photograph. I'd like to thank Kevin Adams for taking time to share with us his very unique ways of photographing these waterfalls. More information about this show and Kevin Adams' work is available online. And remember, it's not just about the photograph, it's the outdoor experience. I'm your host, Doug Gardner. Thank you for joining me on another wild photo adventure. Unique technique for shooting waterfalls at night.
I'm just a good-looking talent.
Speak for yourself.
By the way, you better not put that in there.
Oh, you wait. That is really nice. I don't know if I can do this. It sounds so bad.